I am scared about the interactions thing because it's like I'm good with people, but I always have to think about it. So when I have one of those moments where I can't think, it's bad. Like I have a bad gut. Like I have a really bad intuition. My brain's, well, I just told you my idea, so my brain isn't great, but I was about to say my brain's great, but it's not. So it's like, do you guys have a good gut? Cheer if you have a good gut. Cheer if you have a bad gut. Yeah, I have a bad one, man. I have anxiety, I have things. My gut ideas aren't always great. That's why I've read books to try to like deal with that, and I try to think about things. So when people say go with your gut, I'm like, that is terrible advice for me. It's terrible. It's terrible. My gut never has good ideas. Like, I'm a really happy guy. I'm lucky. I got the happy chemicals. I was born with that. I'm very lucky. But you know how many times a day something small will go wrong and my gut will just tell me to end it all? I'll never do it, but my gut wants me to. Like the other day I was in a Trader Joe's and a cute girl waved at me, so I waved back. But then I realized she was not waving at me, she was waving at the guy behind me. And my gut was just like, we die tonight. My brain was like, it doesn't feel like that big of a deal. My gut's like, I already started the note, so what do you want? It's so bad, it just overreacts to everything. When I first start dating someone, it's a nightmare. My gut's a nightmare. My gut's always like, text her again. And my brain's like, don't do it, man. And my gut's like, text her again. And my brain's like, that's a lot of blue, that's your color. And then my gut's like, text her again. Then I listen to my gut, and the second I press send, my gut's like, break your phone. Break your phone, move to the woods, we made a mistake. We're a woodsman now. We're not good at woods. I do like guts though, because I think there's a layer of honesty to them. I think it honestly reveals something, at least. Like it reveals that I have anxiety. That's why I love fights. I love when two dudes get in a fight. It's one of my favorite things in the world. I don't like violence. It's systemic. It's bad. I don't like that. But I like fights. I just do. I love fights. I think there's honesty to it that you don't always see elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, have you ever seen two dudes in a fight in a bar and just learned something about them? Like, just like really going for it. Just that. I got in a fight once, and it's one of my favorite things that's ever happened to me, because you learned a lot about me and you learned a lot about him. So I was at a bar, and this dude he called my friend fat, and I was like, don't call her that. And then he was like, you want to go? And I was like, yes, I would love to leave. I would love to leave. Let's call me an Uber right now. Let's get me out of here. But then he followed up. He was like, hey man, you want to take this outside? And I got really confused because we already were outside. I was like, you want to go more outside? We could like go to the mountains or something. Like throw down like men. And then he did so many amazing things in a row. The first thing this dude did was he took off his shirt and he flexed. You ever see that where a dude does that at the beginning of a fight? He took off his shirt and he flexed, and this dude had a great body. Yum yum. Like all my friends who were there said I got into fighting position, but they saw me bite my lower lip. Like I was ready to fight, but my face just said, Daddy. He had that thing where all his muscles were separated. You know that? Where all the I could just played him like that. I could have just, it was so good. He had all the canals, and I call them canals because I imagined myself swimming down them. And I imagined myself swimming because I was wet. This dude was hot. He was so hot. He was so hot. So he took off his shirt and he flexed, and then this dude yelled at the top of his lungs, just because I went to art school doesn't mean I'm a bitch. And I thought that was amazing. First of all, that he followed his dreams. Good for you, man. But I think we should all have to do that before we fight. Just yell out our weirdest insecurity. You know, the reason we're probably actually fighting. I love what this dude did because he undressed physically then undressed emotionally. He was like, hey man, you've seen me, but before we fight, you really need to see me. I like all types of fights because you can learn a lot. I've learned a lot in verbal fight. I love a good verbal fight. Like my favorite verbal fight I've ever seen was, and I learned a lot here, and I didn't expect to learn a lot here because it was in a rest stop Chipotle. And it was like, this is the crown jewel of my life. I walk into a rest stop Chipotle and a lady's yelling at the burrito maker, and the burrito maker is yelling back. They're just screaming at each other. And I am already thrilled. I'm like, great, my day is made. Great day for me. And the lady's like, hey, remake my burrito. And the burrito maker's like, I'm not gonna remake your burrito, you're yelling at me. And that's when the first lady was like, yeah, well then I'm gonna write a negative Yelp review about this place. Which is when the burrito maker said the coolest thing I've heard in my entire life. She just said, bitch, we Chipotle. Is that not the most empowering thing you've ever heard? Know your worth. Know your worth, bitch, we Chipotle? Are you kidding me? That is my whole morning affirmations now. I wake up, I wash my face, I look in the mirror, and I say, Brad, we Chipotle, baby. Know your worth. The only way that could have been any cooler would be if she reached out, grabbed the burrito, squeezed everything out of it, threw the husk back, and said, "No one will ever believe you." Know your worth. Chipotle can't be brought down by a negative Yelp review. Chipotle couldn't be brought down by E. coli. Your negative Yelp review can't do anything to Chipotle. No one goes on Yelp to find out how a Chipotle is. They go to find out where a Chipotle is. The only way a negative Yelp review could stop me from going there would be if it said, "Hey, this isn't actually a Chipotle. It's just a Baja Fresh in disguise." You just show up, it's like, "You got me." Baja Bowl? Here's how much my opinion about that place can't change. One time I went to Chipotle and I got food poisoning, and I blamed myself. I was throwing up, and my roommate's like, "What happened?" I was like, "I guess I just ordered wrong. I don't know." All right, later, guys.